Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Super Brum Fan.
And welcome to another, gasp, a new Brum video. Yes, you heard me right. I am finally going back to be making more Brum content again. Instead of making content about a floating disc thing. And to start off with this revival of my Brum content, as you might call it, I'm going to tell you all my favorite Brum episodes from each season. Now before I begin this, I just want to say this to the Brum fans. I am sorry for not making much content about Brum. I just didn't have any interesting ideas to do with him. Not to mention that I have to focus on my other interests and school as well. But considering I now have a decent amount of ideas for this yellow car, I thought it would be the best time to bring Brum back to the channel again. So let's head off back to the big town. Here we are where it all began, Season 1. I know a lot of people like Season 1, and I like Season 1 as well. But it just feels very simple and basic compared to what we'll get next season. But it is the first season, so I'll let it slide off. But just because the first season isn't really that great, doesn't mean it has bad episodes. In fact, I like a lot of them, such as Opera, Rescue, Safari, Bank Robbers, and also Kai. But if I had to go for a favourite episode, I'd probably go for Wheels. I've already explained why I love this episode in that now cancelled character retrospective episode of Brum, so I'll try to keep it brief here. Brum is just at its best in the season, and you know what? Maybe in the show in general. I mean, Brum making a disabled boy's dream come true is just so sweet of him, and the fact that the boy wins the race just proves that disabled people like him can do anything if they try, which is an amazing lesson in my opinion. Anyways, let's go to the next season. And oh boy, isn't it a huge upgrade. This may be an unpopular opinion in the fandom, but I'm gonna say this. Season 2 is my favorite season of the entire show. Period. I can't think of a better season than this. The episodes in this season are at its peak. Episodes such as Helicopter, The Big Chase, The Crane, The Flood, Rattly Robber, and lots more. So picking my favorite episode was very difficult, but I decided to go for The Wedding. I find this episode's music to be at its peak, especially with that chase theme. That just laughs hard. And I also like Brum's character in this, with him going out of his way to help the bride get to her wedding on time. That was just so sweet of him in my opinion. Anyways, on to the next season. And oh my god, aren't we in for a ride? So, Season 3. This season is where things began to change for the show. It's kinda hard to explain, but I'll let James say Williams explain it.
They went from the calm, comforting, storytelling Brum in the 90s to the loud, jazzy, wacky, superhero slapstick Brum shortly after the Teletubbies.
And not to mention that this season's episodes are so repetitive. Every single episode has the exact same formula. I don't care if it takes place in different locations and has different characters. The stories are exactly the same in terms of structure. Now, I don't hate Season 3. In fact, I have lots of nostalgia for it. But after rewatching the season, it's the weakest of the 5 seasons. But again, it's still a good season, but has a lot of problems. And to be honest, I actually did enjoy some of the episodes despite the repetition, such as Brum and the Snow Thieves, Brum and the Airport Adventure, Brum and the Pizzeria, and Brum and the Runaway Train. But out of the 17 episodes, yes, this season has the most episodes, don't ask why,
I decided my favorite episodes from this season is Brum and the Skateboarding Bride. There's just so much comedy and action in this, and I love it. And the plot kinda reminds me of my favorite season 2 episodes, with both having Brum get the bride to her wedding on time. Anyway, let's go to the next season. What is there to say about season 4 that hasn't been said about season 3? It still has those repeated episodes, but used in a good way. And at least it's more watchable than the fucking Sharon Miller era of Thomas. I forgot to mention that before, sorry about that. But what makes this better than season 3 is that there's 2 episodes where none of that repeated formula is shown. And that's in Brum the Soccer Hero and Brum the Basketball Star. And which is my favorite, you may ask? Well, it's the latter. Why this, you may ask? Well, 1, it's more underrated, and I want to give some of those underrated stuff more attention. And 2, I think it's more enjoyable than the former. And it also does more with Brum of what he can do. Sure, there are some episodes of season 4 that are also great, such as Brum and the Golf Buggy, Brum and the Rampant Robot, and Brum and the Runaway Bull are great examples of great episodes. But I think this one is the most standout in my opinion. Alright, on to the last season of the show. Not much to say here. Repetitive episodes, done in a good way, and better than the nitrogen era of Thomas. Now, these are just my opinions. You don't have to agree with me, but this is just the biggest problem with the 2000s era. Every season is the same, and that just gets very repetitive and annoying. But again, this is better than the nitrogen era of Thomas, cause at least Brum isn't acting like a complete moron. But in my opinion, I think this season is the best out of the 2000s era, and even my second favorite in general. Why, you may ask? Well, considering this video is about my favorite episode from each season, and not my thoughts on the season in general, I'll put a written sample as to why. Anyway, favorite episode. Considering that season 5 is now my second favorite season, it was quite difficult picking my favorite episode, but I decided to settle with Brum and the New Gnome. I just love how the gnome just gets thrown into random situations, which you will not usually expect. And that's just hilarious in my opinion. But I also like Brum in this as well, with him going out of his way to get Mr. Brillo's gnome back. Even if that means him driving across a tightrope that could have made him fall down. Like, he almost sacrificed his life over a gnome. That is also just wild in my opinion. And those were my favorite Brum episodes from each season. It honestly has been a fun time rewatching the series, especially with my 3 favorites. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this comeback video about Brum, and I do plan on making more content about him. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next